Horror has experienced a remarkable resurgence in recent years, moving beyond its cult reputation and into the realm of mainstream prestige. With films like Midsommar, Hereditary, and Barbarian, the genre has proven it can be just as artistically potent and thematically rich as any Oscar contender. However, for every groundbreaking original, there's a familiar franchise dredged up from the past, not always with success. And one of the most polarizing examples of this trend is the return of I Know What You Did Last Summer. First released in 1997, I Know What You Did Last Summer was one of several teen slashers that followed in the wake of Scream's massive success. Though it developed a cult following, it never quite achieved the same cultural longevity or narrative flexibility as Wes Craven's self-aware masterpiece. Now, over 2 decades later, the series is returning to theaters in 2025, and not all fans are thrilled. A legacy sequel no one asked for? The revival of I Know What You Did Last Summer is the latest in a long line of legacy sequels attempting to reignite older horror franchises by combining new blood with returning stars. The new film brings back Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt, reprising their roles as Ray and Julie, the survivors of a deadly cover-up involving a hit-and-run accident and a vengeful, hook-wielding killer. But while the original film captured the late 90s teen horror zeitgeist, its narrative wasn't exactly built for sequels. Unlike Scream, which cleverly allowed for an evolving antagonist through the Ghostface identity, I Know What You Did Last Summer hinged on a single, specific revenge story. Its killer, Ben Willis, was a flesh-and-blood man, not a supernatural boogeyman like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. While Scream was practically designed to perpetuate itself, with new killers donning the mask and fresh meta-commentary baked into each installment, I Know What You Did Last Summer always felt more like a one-and-done. The 1998 sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, struggled to justify its existence, and a 2006 direct-to-video installment, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, was largely forgotten. That history makes the upcoming 2025 film feel less like a return and more like a retread, one that stretches its original concept well past its limits. The supernatural problem in a grounded franchise. What makes this legacy sequel especially confusing is how it seems to bend the rules of its own universe. While I Know What You Did Last Summer was always grounded in realism, the new film appears to be leaning into the kind of long-surviving, nearly unkillable killer trope seen in franchises like Halloween or Friday the 13th. But that doesn't quite track for a story originally about grief, guilt, and consequences, not invincible slashers with mythical stamina. Freddie Prinze Jr. S-Ray is back in the seaside town, warning a new generation of teens that they aren't the first to suffer the town's dark legacy. Meanwhile, the trailer teases a series of fresh kills and a possibly resurrected fisherman killer. Whether this is a new murderer or Ben Willis himself is unclear, but either way, it raises questions about the franchise's direction and whether it's straying too far from what little logic it had to begin with. Fans are getting fatigued. The return of I Know What You Did Last Summer is part of a broader Hollywood trend, capitalizing on nostalgia with mixed results. For every successful reboot, Scream 2022, there are others that feel forced, unnecessary, or disconnected from what made the original work. Fans are growing weary of seeing beloved horror properties stretch thin in an effort to capture lightning in a bottle twice, especially when the originals didn't leave much room for expansion. As horror continues to evolve and push boundaries, not every franchise needs to come back from the dead. While some stories thrive with reinterpretation and fresh perspectives, others, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, risk undermining their impact by refusing to stay buried.